Hello and happy Halloween for tomorrow. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Today we're going to have a very short lesson and you're going to do an election timeline. So I'm going to go over the events of the timeline so that you can put them in order. So I'm going to use this poster, The Path to the Presidency, and we're going to use the ones with the green magnets next to them. So we've already studied about that a presidential candidate must be a natural born citizen of the United States. They must have been a resident of the United States for 14 years or more and be at least 35 years old. So that's what they have to, those are the qualifications to even run for president. So the first event that we have are the primaries and caucuses. So in Texas, we call them primaries. In several other states, some states call them caucuses. So those are the first round elections or meetings held in each state to give direction in choosing a party's candidate. So at this point, there are several people that want to be the candidate for their party. So they all campaign to be the one person to run for each party. So that happens in January through June. So that's we start in January and we end in January. So the second event is the national conventions. So these are large events where delegates gather to formally select their party's candidate for the general election. The Democratic and Republican parties hold conventions to name their candidates for president and vice president. So this is when the candidate chooses their vice presidential running mate, and they're officially the representative for their party. The third thing that's not on this is the big campaign. Oh, and the national conventions are in July. So the third thing is the big campaign that lasts from August through October. So we're just finishing up this part. So the race really takes off. We see lots of advertisements, debates, and handshakes during this time. So I'm sure you've seen lots of ads on TV, you've seen posters and signs in people's yards. So that's all part of the big campaign. So then so that's August through October. Then we move to Election Day, which is coming up next Tuesday. So that's called the general election. So the main election at which any U.S. citizen who is at least 18 years old and meets the requirements of his or her state may vote. So right now we're in early voting, and today is the last day for that. And then the campaigns close down until Tuesday next week, and anybody that's 18 or older can go to the polls and cast their ballot and vote. So it always falls on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. It's time for the candidates to sit back while the voters make history. So this is going to be a big election, so we'll see what happens. And then the last thing that happens is in January after the election day. So whoever wins the election will be inaugurated. So the inauguration is the ceremony at which the newly elected president takes the oath of office and officially begins serving a term. So that happens on January 20th. The new president will be sworn into office. There are lots of parties and parades, and then the hard work begins for the new president of the United States. So on Tuesday next week, we will have our election, and we will see who becomes our next president. Do you think it'll be President Trump, who is already our president? Do you think he's going to win a second term? Or do you think that Joe Biden, the Democratic candidate, will win? We will see. On Tuesday next week, we'll have our own election. So until next week, have a good weekend and a happy Halloween, and I will talk to you soon.